You you don't race the fans. You race your competitors, and there's more of them than there are you.
Carson Hocevar had the win right in front of him at Atlanta. He was leading on the very last lap, and then something happened that told the whole story of his season. Nobody helped him. Let me back up and explain, because this one really stings for the young driver. It was the Quaker State 400 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. The race had gone into overtime after a big crash on the backstretch with Kyle Larson, 9 laps to go. Hocevar was out front in his number 77 Spire Motorsports Chevrolet. He led by 2 whole car lengths at the white flag. Everything looked good, but there was one problem. He was surrounded by Toyotas, and at a track like Atlanta, you can't win alone. You need a push from another car behind you, and Hocevar had nobody willing to give it. On that final lap, Christopher Bell had a choice to make. He could push his Toyota teammate Bubba Wallace. He could push Hocevar's Chevy right in front of him. Or he could push the Ford of Ryan Blaney. Now think about that. Blaney drives a Ford, a rival brand. Bell drives a Toyota. Normally, you'd help your own kind before you help the other guy. But Bell pushed the Ford anyway. He pushed Blaney to the win, and Hocevar dropped all the way to third. Kevin Harvick broke it down perfectly on his show. He said, it was very evident that he was making the choice to not push Carson Hocevar. Harvick painted the whole picture. Wallace trying to pass, Bell shoving Blaney up top, and Hocevar just sitting there, all by himself. Harvick said the thought inside these drivers' heads was simple. Hey, I don't want to see this guy win, and I'm not helping him. And it got worse for the field, too. Bubba Wallace went 3 wide trying to make his move, but he dipped below the double yellow line, got a penalty, and fell all the way back to 29th. So the finish was chaos. Blaney won. Hocevar came home third, and everybody started asking the same question. Why did nobody help Carson? The talk started right after the race. On the TNT Sports post-race show early Monday morning, analysts Jeff Burton and Jamie McMurray said Hocevar's attitude is starting to cost him wins. Their point was blunt. Hocevar has upset so many of his fellow drivers that no one wants to help him when he needs it most. Then came the big one. Denny Hamlin got on his podcast, Actions Detrimental, and gave Hocevar a reality check that had to hurt. Hamlin agreed with the analyst right away. He said, you don't race the fans, you race your competitors, and there's more of them than there are of you. Simple, right? Hocevar has been busy trying to win over fans and build a bold personality. But Hamlin's point was that fans don't decide the race, the other drivers do. And Hamlin took it further. He said all of Hocevar's tough talk in interviews can come back to bite him. In his words, while it may sound good in an interview, when it comes down to the end of a race, those words sometimes can hurt your finishing position. Then he hit the line that really landed. Hamlin said, you can't tell the drivers if you want a war, bring it and then expect them to help you out on the racetrack. You can't pick a fight with everyone and then be shocked when nobody has your back. Now, there's also a smart racing reason Bell pushed Blaney, and Hamlin explained it. Look at the standings. Blaney was 3rd, Hocevar was 8th, Bell was 9th, just 1 spot behind Hocevar. So, by pushing Blaney and hurting Hocevar, Bell actually helped his own points. Hamlin said, Bell is always going to make whatever decision he thinks is going to give him the best finishing position. So it was part payback and part strategy all rolled into one. But here's the part that really stung. Hamlin shared something from a private team meeting. He said, there were drivers in our meeting today that say no matter what, they will not push Carson Hocevar to a victory. Absolutely not. They'll push anyone else. Think about that. It's not just one driver who's mad. It's a whole room of them who have quietly agreed to freeze him out. And Hamlin summed up the reason in one sentence. You can't disrespect them on and off the track. After the race, Hocevar said he felt like he choked. But Hamlin wasn't even willing to give him that. He said, I don't understand his reality there. Then he explained, he never had the lead. I didn't see an opportunity for him to win the race. Hamlin said just because you start up front doesn't mean you get help. In his words, just because you start on the front row, it doesn't mean you get the push. It doesn't mean you got clear. His final take was almost harsh. I guess he just was in the mix, but it wasn't choking. Basically, you can't choke away a win you were never really in position to grab. So how do you fix this? Hamlin pointed to the old greats, especially Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt raced hard and mean, sure, but after the race, he'd walk right up to a driver, say he was sorry, and make them feel like everything was okay between them. He had enemies on the track, but friends off it. Hamlin's rule was simple. You don't have to have a lot of friends, but you definitely can't have a lot of enemies. And he added a truth that's hard to argue with. There's never been one of the greats in our sport who wasn't respected by his peers. Right now, Hocevar doesn't have that respect on the track or off it. Hamlin even brought up an old story to warn Hocevar. Back in 2015, Joey Logano and Matt Kenseth had a huge feud. Hamlin said if Logano had just talked it out, things might have gone differently. Instead, Logano's attitude was basically, oh well, and Kenseth remembered. He wrecked Logano later and ended his championship run. The lesson? In this sport, drivers don't forget. Payback can wait a long time. And Hocevar has given the garage plenty to remember. He got fined $50,000 and 25 points for hooking Harrison Burton on purpose under caution at Nashville. He caused a 9-car pileup at Michigan. He put Bell into the wall earlier this year. He tangled with Denny Hamlin at Sonoma. And just a week before Atlanta, he got into a wreck with Zane Smith at Chicagoland. He races incredibly hard, but he almost never smooths things over afterward. In fact, after that Chicagoland meeting, people said he came out smiling and laughing, like the other driver's anger didn't bother him at all. That's kind of his whole thing lately. Hocevar has fully embraced an I don't care attitude. He wants the fans to love him, and he doesn't mind if the drivers hate him. At Atlanta, he even bragged about ignoring his own team owner's advice during the rain delay. And while the cars circled under caution near the end, he was singing over the radio and laughing with his crew. To be fair, he drove a clean race, never wrecked anyone, and still finished third. But that friendly push he needed, it was never coming. Hamlin did offer some real advice, though. He said Hocevar should talk to Ross Chastain. Chastain used to race just as wild, then he calmed it down and learned to pick his moments. Hamlin figured Chastain could tell him, I thought it was the right way, but here's why it didn't work. The only worry, Hamlin said, is whether Carson will actually listen. I don't know whether Carson is going to be as receptive to advice. Now here's the twist. Not everyone thinks Hocevar should change one bit. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in his corner big time. Jr. texts Carson all the time to keep his head straight. He tells him, we're going to be critical, we're going to talk about you. Your job is to buckle up and race and do your best. Jr. even said the criticism is a good sign. It's when they're not talking about you is when you need to be worried. And most surprising of all, Jr. said flat out, I don't want Hocevar to change. He believes the sport needs bold personalities like Carson to bring in new fans and grow bigger than ever. So that's the real fight here. The fans love the wild, fearless Hocevar. But the other drivers control his fate, and right now they've decided to make him pay for it. At Atlanta, they didn't wreck him. They didn't touch him. They just left him out there all alone. And in NASCAR, sometimes that's the harshest punishment of all.